Outdoor recreation can be a great way to get fit, stay fit, and have fun with friends and family here in Southern Colorado. But if you don't know where to start, don't worry. There's some programs out there that can help you get started going from the backyard to the backcountry. Hello, wellness friends. This is AJ Webb, your SLV Health Wellness Coordinator, and this is Wellness Time, where I take time to talk about wellness type activities. Today, I spoke with John Reesor, who is the Outdoor Recreation Specialist for the City of Alamosa. John and I got to sit down and talk about the local trail systems and recreation opportunities here in Alamosa. We talked about trails, simple ones that are easy to access right around town. We talked about some that are a little bit longer that get you from the backyard to the backcountry, with the idea being that you're going to progress, build your skills so that you can go out and enjoy the outdoors. And ultimately, as a wellness coordinator, I'd love to see more folks getting out in beautiful, colorful Colorado and enjoying some of the local trail and outdoor recreation opportunities that we have here. They're great motivators as far as staying in shape and getting in shape. Myself personally, I love to hunt and I love to spend time out in the mountains. And the fitter I am, the more I can go and enjoy that. It gives me a little incentive to stay fit throughout the year. I know you'll enjoy this interview where we talk about the local trail systems, opportunities to participate in classes about birding and mountain biking and stand-up paddleboarding. And if you have any questions, it's real easy to get a hold of John Reesor, Outdoor Recreation Specialist at the City of Alamosa. His office is at the Rec Center, and you're going to find out plenty about him and his programs. I know you'll enjoy this episode of Wellness Time. It's very good, and it's, again, good quality stuff that we can find probably on your website, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So John Reesor, thank you for letting me come down to the Alamosa Family Rec Center, meet with you here at your office. And today we're talking about trails. Can you tell us what is your position here with the City of Alamosa?
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show, AJ.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my position is Outdoor Recreation Specialist with the City of Alamosa Parks and Recreation. It's a new position with Parks and Rec, just started in June of 2018.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome, brand new. So the city decides that they need someone to help out in this particular area. That seems like a kind of a new, creative, kind of innovative thing.
Yeah.
How do these things kind of get started, and what's it been like filling this brand new position?
Yeah. So there's history in terms of how my position came to be at the city. In 2017, the city did what was called a comprehensive plan, and they gained feedback or input from a bunch of different stakeholders and residents in Alamosa. And they basically asked the residents what the highest priority needs were. And one thing that came out of that comprehensive study was the need for trails. There's some polling done that showed that residents wanted trails even more than they wanted more law enforcement, or more than they wanted to fix our roads. That might say something about the people, the stakeholders that provided input.
Lots of ways
to
to interpret that, yeah.
But
lots of ways.
We took that data and we ran with it. And last year, in 2018, the city, along with some other nonprofit organizations, like the Boys and Girls Club, the Rio Grande Farm Park, the Rio Grande Watershed Conservation Education Initiative, the Rattlers Mountain Bike Club, and Adams State University all came together and wrote a grant to GOCO, Greater Doors, Colorado, in this grant program that's called Generation Wild. And so this coalition of organizations, like, we're all working together to provide increased access to outdoor recreation and environmental education among our young people in Alamosa. So that's how my job came to be. It was this need, from the comprehensive plan, and then we were able to fund my position through this GOCO Inspire or Generation Wild grant, and that's grant funded for 3 years. I'm grant funded for 3 years with the city, and then Parks and Rec plans to make my position a permanent position.
That's cool. It's got sustainability.
Yeah.
That is such an awesome. That's so awesome. I think that's so awesome for a lot of reasons. One is like you're meeting the needs of the local population, right? They got tax monies, and we think it should be spent this way. That's cool. The second part is that we're in Alamosa. We're in rural Colorado, which is amazing country, right? This is like an outdoors enthusiast dream in a lot of ways. And then also this Generation Wild idea, which I'm interested to learn a little bit more about. Me as the wellness coordinator, sometimes the things that make us not so well, it's like an absence of wellness, right? And being outdoors, like I see this as like this big protective factor for people around here, that if, you need to get outside, we got great places to go and get outside. It's like playing basketball in Indiana. I don't know if you're racing cars in Talladega or something like that, but it seems like a real natural fit. But
when in Rome.
Yeah, there you go. John, will you tell us a little bit more about you and your background with the outdoors, and maybe a little bit about how you wound up in Alamosa?
Yeah. I grew up in Canada, actually, a dual citizen, but spent the first 17 years of my life in Ontario, and was acquainted with the outdoors there in terms of canoeing and camping. Went to summer camp, kind of had that exposure to the outdoors, even though I was from a big city. And that early exposure for me, getting outdoors, I always knew I loved being outside and recreating outside and being on water and on trails. I didn't do that professionally until just recently. But since I moved to Colorado 5 years ago, I came here as an AmeriCorps member and volunteered for a couple of years.
So you helped out locally in the community. What organizations did you help out with?
I was at La Puente for a year.
Okay.
As a volunteer, and then I was the director of the food bank for a couple of years as well.
Awesome.
So this transition for me into the outdoor industry was definitely a career change. But outdoor recreation was always something that I just did for fun, and I've seen the value that it's had on my life in terms of like when I could go outside and recreate outside and get that sun on my skin, and get my toes in the dirt. I feel the mental health benefits of it, just personally, anecdotally. So this opportunity came up with the city, and it's been awesome. It's what I love to do, and I'm learning lots, and I'm just helping, hopefully helping other young people and other people in the community be able to understand the benefits of the outdoors. So, that's one reason. I'll just say too, when I came to Alamosa, I didn't necessarily plan to stay here. Like a lot of volunteers, they come for a year and then leave, head back home. But the outdoor recreation part of the benefits of the San Luis Valley, what it has to offer, is one of the reasons why I've stayed here now for almost 5 years, I believe. That and the fact that I met my wife here.
Bam.
And got married. So yeah.
Bam. Me too.
Nice.
I didn't. Yeah, pound it. I didn't. I hadn't. I came here to play football, and and I met my wife at the School of Business, and I'm working on becoming a full transplant with all the. I'll never be a native here in the Valley, but working on some transplant status.
Putting down some roots.
Yes, and
nice.
That's awesome for a lot of reasons. One, it's really cool that you help people through the AmeriCorps program and those particular areas, right? Between the food bank and La Puente, those are they need good, competent people. B, those are hard and important problems to address. So I think that's awesome. But I really like how it's fascinating to me when people get to transition from, you said career change, but it's also like career change / passion multiplier. Like you get to do stuff that you were gonna do for fun anyway.
Right.
Now you get the benefits of being employed while doing it. And I always think that's cool when people are able to align their passions, right? This thing they're willing to suffer and do anyway, but they also get to make their career out of it. And that's I think that's I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good place to be, where your personal interests are really aligning with your career goals. And I think that's when you can do your best work, when you're energized by your work. And that's where I like to think that I'm at right now. So.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I love health. I've loved taking care of myself and exercising and things like that. Ever since I was thinking about the other day, I had a bunk bed that I would do like pull-up stuff on, and I was like 12. So like 2 concrete-filled plastic weights that I do stuff with, so I could throw better for baseball. And I've always loved health and been involved with it. It'd be stuff I'd be doing anyway. I just happened to get to find out more and more about it, and that's kind of what I'm here to do. Is as of 2014, I started hunting, and I was a suburban Arizona kid. That's a much different kind of wilderness. Like, you don't do a whole lot of wildernessy stuff. Like, there's plenty of opportunities. Like, you spend time outside, but maybe you're boating or jet skiing, and there's all kinds of creepy crawlies and snakes, and there's no water anywhere, so you're definitely going to die if you get lost out there. So my experience was not this accessible kind of go out and really experience. It's like, yeah, you went and saw nice stuff in Arizona, but mostly the time you're trying not to die, right? Not that you're not doing that here, but here it's a little bit, this is an outdoors person's, kind of paradise. And so as far as what kept you here, what were some of the things about the San Luis Valley and the outdoor recreation that you really enjoyed? Like, what are your top 3 things to do outdoors now?
Well, a lot of what I love to do does require a little bit of traveling into the mountains.
Okay.
Like, I love downhill skiing.
Okay.
It's probably my greatest passion in terms of, or my most refined skill in the outdoors is probably downhill skiing. Been more recently getting into mountain biking, which we can get into in a little bit, but there are some trails in Alamosa that are pretty cool just for an after work ride. But yeah, so downhill skiing, mountain biking, and I would just say like hiking in general, like getting out into the mountains, getting on top of mountains. Those are my 3 probably like most biggest interests in terms of recreation in the San Luis Valley.
Have you pulled the papers out of the coffee can and got to sign them on a few mountains?
Yeah, I found a couple of those geocaches.
Yeah, very cool. So let's now talk about what the city has to offer and what your position is specifically working to cater to, as far as providing some local, not have to go all the way into the mountains, trails access. What is it that we have going on here in Alamosa? Yeah.
Well, along with what you're saying, like what do we have here? That's kind of the model that we have going on is the backyard to backcountry is the term. Let's get people excited about recreation in their backyard, and then build the confidence and the skills and the knowledge in your backyard to then take to the backcountry later on. So there's a lot of good backyard stuff here in Alamosa. So
you don't have to climb to the top of a 14er with an ultralight pack and risk getting struck by lightning on day 1. There's a progression to this thing.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Tell me, where's that progression start? Where does the house meet the backyard, meet the backcountry?
Yeah. Well, we have our map of
this is a
Alamosa
map.
Open spaces here, the Alamosa City Ranch. A lot of people are probably familiar with the trails that run along the levee along the river. See a lot of runners out there.
I don't know about a lot of people. Like, I almost feel like you need to have like and we're working on this with the Revitalize the Reesor project to create some more signage. But I'd see people on there and like, I don't know if I should do that or not. And my wife, she would take me on them and stuff, but I always felt a little trepidation getting on there.
That's true. I shouldn't come at this with that
assumption. And I apologize if I felt like I corrected you, but there's trails out there, they're a levee, and they're for you if you live here in Alamosa. There's total public access. But let's give some bearings if we're up here and goofing around. So you and I where are we at? Are we right here?
Down there.
All right, so we're here. So we're south of Alamosa. We got City Hall right here, and let's talk about those levee trails. Where are those levee trails?
If you look, this is Cole Park here.
Okay.
A lot of people might access those trails from from Cole Park, you can park your vehicle there. And then you have that pedestrian bridge that crosses the river. Pretty much north of Cole Park for 1,300 acres is the Alamosa City Ranch, and we have trails on a lot of sections on that ranch.
And John, you said that this map is available.
Yes.
So it's just on the city website. We will throw a link to a map, either this one or very similar, that we'll put that in the description below.
Awesome.
So tell me more.
Yeah, so Cole Park is a nice access point. Also, the Rio Grande Farm Park is where you can start accessing trails.
Okay.
A lot of people you see here at the intersection of, the State Street Bridge, where you cross over the Rio Grande. There's a bit of parking there.
Okay.
And you can hit the levee trails from there. That's probably like the best way to start getting into it. So, like I was saying, there's the trails on the levees, which are more known to the public. What's a little bit newer and a little less known are these new single track trails. So basically, single track refers to not double track, not a car track. It's just, about 18 inches wide or however many inches wide. And it's great for walking, running, dog walking, mountain biking.
Perfect.
So these, starting here, if you go north on this levee trail from the State Street Bridge on the north side of the river, you'll eventually get to this point right here.
Okay.
Where is it? That intersection there. It's called the Rio Inspire Trail.
Okay.
So that dips down off the levee and into the riparian area for the river. So it's a lot of like wildlife and vegetation in there. You can follow that Rio Inspire Trail all the way up to the disc golf course. And then even beyond, north of the disc golf course. So that's one great trail, the Rio Inspire Trail. It's about 1 mile in one direction, so it'd be about 2 miles out and back.
Okay.
Connected to that Rio Inspire Trail are the outer Oxbow and the inner Oxbow trails.
Okay.
And the Oxbow is this, it's a body of water. It used to be the old riverbed of the Rio Grande, but the Rio Grande naturally shifts and moves, and it left this circular body of water, basically.
Interesting.
And it's flooded every year by the city, and it provides for great birding opportunities there. So all kinds of waterfowl that live in there, as well as species of birds that prefer the trees. So you can get some really diverse populations of birds in that inner Oxbow Trail. So I'd highly recommend that if you're at all into birding. So
very nice.
And then the last trail I'd point out is the Simpson Loop here.
Okay.
That's another mile loop, I believe. You can access it.
That's what this says.
Yeah, 1 mile. So, and there's another parking lot here which was newly kind of refurbished, I guess.
Oh, nice.
So it's a
So that's
road.
North River Road. So if I'm just following on down, okay.
North River Road, go past the entrance to the disc golf course, turn left on the North River Pavilion access road, and you can park there and access all the new trails from there as well. So, yeah, some really great stuff. It's pretty beginner friendly, but if you're into running, if you have a dog, and you want to take them for a walk on leash, it's great place to explore.
So you can take your pooch, and as long as you have them on a leash, and I'm sure that their city's got other resources as far as like specific ordinances and like what are all the rules, and there's typically posted right there, right? I mean, they're working.
Pigs have to be on a leash.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. So we got a variety of trails right here, right? So we have the dikes right here. Is that these little purple dashed lines right here?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the dikes, and you can kind of loop through there. And then we have the variety of these different routes. So we have the Rio Inspire Trail that you had talked about, 1.2 miles, and inner Oxbow and outer Oxbow. The Simpson Loop, which you said was a nice 1 mile trail. We got a Crestone Trail. How about these loops, these 3.5, 3.3? What's the Twin Peak Loop and what's the Maddox Loop?
The Twin Peaks Loop is basically just uses the existing levee.
Okay.
So
Oh, I see. Okay,
it's
so
a
you
loop.
just-
Yeah, you start at the State Street Bridge, go to the disc golf course on the levee, use the disc golf course access road, and then it piggybacks off of North River Road, basically.
I got
But
you.
there's a like an expanded shoulder on the side of the road there, so it makes it safer and more accessible. So it is along the road, but it's meant for trail users.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. And this must have been, we started, where did we start for the Rio Frio 5K? Was it like here-ish?
That was a little further
this
east
way?
into Cole Park. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is Cole Park, right?
Yeah.
So we were here, and then we went up and around, and then came back?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
right.
Well, very nice, very nice. Well, okay,
Yeah.
so that helps me, right? Because I've been out here, I've messed around, but for me, like I'm just like a picture learner. Like this is very handy for me to just conceptualize where everything's at.
Yeah.
For me, being a relatively new outdoors person who's working to get from that backyard out into the backcountry and is dabbling in some backcountry stuff.
Yeah.
To understand that to know that there's these resources out there that we can get started with, that we can take a look at, because frankly it's terrifying. I mean, there's parts of it that where I'm terrified as far as like not being able to get back. I could get lost in a phone booth, right? It's probably a good idea for me to have a GPS if I go to Walmart. Not quite, like I'm getting better at it, but I'm getting better through time and then being able to look at different resources and stuff like this. So I hope that individuals that are watching this will be able to take that link and print this out. But these are also available here at the city, right? Like in a handout?
Yep, at the Parks and Rec Family Rec Center, you can get a map at any time.
Perfect.
Any point. Also, the Alamosa Visitors Bureau has some maps.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we got distance, and most of this is relatively flat. Would you describe it as you're not going to hit a bunch of rolling hills and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
extremely flat except for the elevation gain or loss that you get from going up and down the levee. But
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
it's very flat.
That's like the ridge. So someone who is interested in a little bit more advanced stuff, what's that transition look like from the backyard to the backcountry?
Yeah. Well, I would say that for those that are interested in like developing skills, a good place to start would be doing some of our programming that we offer.
Okay. Let's talk about that. So what are some of the, because you'd approached me and, sorry to cut you off, but you'd approached me and you had talked about some different opportunities to go to some different, like trailheads, is that what you call it? Or to go and do some other.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me about the opportunity that I wasn't able to take you up on and some of those opportunities?
Yeah. Well, right. We are focusing most of our programming just like right here in the city limits. So coming up, we have birding, a beginner birding class. And I know you asked about advanced skills, but we can.
No, this is good.
Yeah, we can get there too. Birding. So this spring, May. Let's see. I got some dates here for you.
Oh, perfect.
April 13th and May 4th. We're having a class on beginner birding. So if you are interested in the sport of birding, but you've never had the kind of like mentorship or instruction that you need to get into birding, we have two instructors that are really passionate about it. They're really knowledgeable about the different species of birds that exist here in South Central Colorado. And we'll provide binoculars if you need them, and we'll take you out on the trails and show you where the best habitat is for birds here in Alamosa. And they'll teach you a little bit about taking notes. Birders, people that are really into birding, they have like what they call a lifer list. And so they have a list of every species of bird that they've ever seen.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So we'll kind of talk about starting a lifer list. So yeah, that's one opportunity to kind of like dig beneath the surface of the trails a little bit and just be a little bit more observant of what's going on around you on the trails. I did a birding class last spring, and it's amazing how much more in tune to the different species of birds that there are around here. You know, I couldn't name probably 5 birds before that class, and now I'm rhyming off
Now you're
quite a few.
Whoa! There's a wow. That's so some birding classes, right? So people can get out. Because that's the thing is for me, once I'm not terrified of being lost, and I'm convinced that I'm not going to fall down or something like that.
Yeah.
It is nice to pick your head up and look around and enjoy the scenery, but also enjoy a little bit of birding. So you guys are offering classes. You don't need knockers unless you know you have some that can be provided. Besides birding, what else do you have?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. We have some paddleboarding coming up. So this is like stand-up paddleboarding. I don't know if you've never seen it. It looks like a surfboard, and you stand on it, and you have one paddle, and it's almost like what do you call those people in Venice or whatever?
Oh, the gondola.
Yeah, the back of the gondola.
Okay.
So it's like that, but you can do it on the river here in Alamosa, and you can also do it.
That's nice. You don't really like fall, like low risk of drowning there.
Right, right. So
knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just look at another date here for that, but we're going to do a paddleboarding trip. So we're going to start at the north end of Alamosa, put in some paddleboards there along the city ranch. So this is May 18th. It'll be open up to families, and so we're going to take a trip basically from the top of the ranch down to Cole Park. It'll take about an hour. We'll play a little bit in the water just down by Cole Park, and then we'll have a barbecue.
Nice.
So that's another way to get out there.
Do individuals have the opportunity to rent these paddle boards?
Yeah, any day of the week if anyone's interested. Adams State Adventure Program has those paddle boards for rent.
Maybe we can throw that the number. I'm assuming you got to call them and reserve your paddle board.
Yeah.
So we can throw that number in the description below. Perfect.
Yeah.
So doing some paddle boarding and finishing up with a barbecue.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of paddle boarding myself. I did it in the Oceanside Harbor, and I'm a bigger unit, so I don't think it was like one of those things like the water kept getting on my feet, so I'm assuming that means that I didn't quite have the buoyancy I needed for my paddleboard. So it was a little interesting, but it was fun. It was challenging. Like I got tired, like my stabilizer muscles, like my butt hurt, like my butt cheeks hurt because so it was a good workout. I'm like, oh, that's real tough. Like once you get the balance down. No, I mean it was a good workout. It was fun, and this seems like a great way to get started in something like that because, I mean, you're floating the river and you got people that can save your life that are right there too.
Yeah,
very nice.
Well, speaking of using your like stabilizing muscles, we're gonna offer yoga classes on a paddleboard.
Whoa!
So
next
wait
level.
for that information to drop, but it'll be on our social media and on our website. But we're looking at a session of 4 classes in August. It'll be over here on the Blanca Vista Pond, which is also part of the Alamosa City Ranch. And I think we'll have up to 9 people per class.
Wow.
So it's if you like yoga, it's like taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
You're outside, and you're also constantly using stabilization muscles to stay on top of your paddleboard.
Yeah, can you warrior one? Can you warrior one on a paddleboard?
I don't know. We'll find out. Right?
That's awesome. So, birding, paddleboarding. What else is going on with these trail systems and these outdoor recreation opportunities, John?
We're going to do a mountain biking clinic.
Very nice.
Looks like we have it scheduled for June. 3 Wednesdays in June after work.
Perfect.
Again, that stuff, we'll throw that on the links below. But so we have an instructor that's going to teach, intro to mountain biking. Nice. Which you can actually learn a lot, even if you're not in the mountains, just on the Alamosa trails and on the bike park that we have in Cole Park. It's called a pump track, and we have jumps there set up. So there's a lot you can learn just right here in the city limits.
You don't have to go over the jumps, right? This isn't a hazing?
No,
okay.
No, definitely not. This class won't deal with jumps. This will just be the basics of of mountain biking, and then it might inspire you to go over to Christie Mountain Sport and buy a nicer bike, or you don't even need a nicer bike.
Because you can rent nicer bikes. You can rent the fat tire bikes.
Yep.
There's lots of opportunities over there at Christie's to check out cool outdoor gear and to also get your hands on some and rent some for a little while.
Yeah,
Between
exactly.
Sandboards, I've rented snowboards there before. I've never rented mountain bikes. I bought a mountain bike from there, but they got gear over there at Christie Mountain.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I'd probably recommend too before buying is renting or borrowing, and see if you like it before you throw down a lot of money for something.
Right.
Because you might regret the investment, but I think that you probably won't regret it. And Christie's is a great resource as well for trails. They'll point you in the right direction if you want to leave the city limits and go explore near Del Norte or anywhere else in the mountains. They'll treat you well. So just
perfect. Yeah. It was super to plug them, plug a local business that are very knowledgeable. Eric and his wife have been. I've been going in there loitering for a long time and have just started buying stuff from there. And they're awesome. They're very knowledgeable. They're outdoor enthusiasts, and that's really cool.
Yeah. I would say if we're plugging other resources or businesses, the Adams State Adventure Program, they have a lot of rental gear too.
You can rent camping gear. I rented a backpack from them. I rented a sleeping pad. I know they had stoves. I think they had mountaineering boots.
Yeah.
I mean, they have. So I think what we're getting at here is, there's an opportunity to, at a very affordable rate, rent some of these things that can get you out there for some of the more advanced type activities. And that's good if you don't have a lot of dough, because I don't have hundreds and thousands of extra bucks growing on trees around my house to drop on new stuff. But also, I get to test stuff out and see if I like it. And also, now I understand that function and feature of that little stove a little bit better now. Now I like a canister stove versus a diesel stove or something like that. So very nice. So there's some good messages there on get out and try some stuff.
Yeah.
I also like what you said earlier too. You didn't say worrying about the costs. You said worrying. You didn't say worrying, but you said something about the investment, right? Yeah. Because this gear, it's not going to appreciate and be worth dozens of dollars down the road, right?
Yeah.
However, it is going to give people an opportunity to spend more time outdoors. And that's kind of what I'm really getting at here. And by learning about these things is getting people outdoors, getting involved in activities in one of the most amazing places probably in the country to get out and do these things, right? And it doesn't have to be overly expensive, because you can show up to any of these trails today and go and start building your skills, but also start building your own physical capacities to be out there, because you don't have to be a marathoner, but it does help if you're building up your own physical capacity. I find the less that my feet are hurting and my lungs are burning, like, I really have fun doing that, but like the less frequent that is, the more fun I'm having out in the backcountry.
Yeah, I agree with all those assertions. Like start small, get used gear, borrow gear, rent gear. Don't worry about having the best of the best stuff. Just get your feet wet with it. And that's what my programs are designed to do, is just get people dabbling in these sports and these activities.
Awesome. So any other field trip type activities coming up? So we got birding, we got some mountain biking with an instructor, we got some yoga paddle boarding. Anything else that we're gonna put on our dance card for the summer?
Yeah, well, mark your calendars for weekends on the Rio too.
Weekends on the Rio, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so every Sunday for 9 Sundays this summer, so it's June 23rd to August 25th, except for August 4th. We take a break August 4th. But it's in the park at Cole Park and around the City Ranch. we have different activities for free every Sunday for you and the whole family. So we'll have paddleboarding. We have yoga in the park. Last year we did disc golf. We did guided nature walks. We had story time for kids. So again, that information will be on Facebook, City of Alamosa activities, in our website. But that's a great way to just get your feet wet with outdoor recreation.
Pun intended.
Yes.
Awesome. So staying up to date on Facebook, I know that for my staff at San Luis Valley Health, we are going to, I'm going to work to get some people out there and doing some of these things. I know lots of folks that are, excited about doing some backcountry stuff, excited about doing some Spartan races and some mudders and stuff like that, and training, right? I love the weight room. I love barbells and stuff like that, but it's kind of this like fictitious man-made kind of situation in there. It's so awesome to get outside and squats and deadlifts and cleans and all those, and presses, all the things that can really help you develop your physical capacities. You get some general physical preparedness out of there, but getting out on these trails, getting a little dirt in your socks, some sun on your skin, this is going to be a way, A, it's going to feel really awesome, but B, it's also going to be that sport-specific training that's going to help people get ready for those backpacks, those hikes, the fall hunts, and that's kind of what I'm interested in, is getting myself slowly, like, trying to peak around September so that I can go out and chase elk and deer and be safe and physically prepared to do it, because I've gone out there on my own willpower, and that's okay, but I really need to keep that as an ace up my sleeve, so to speak. And I think all of these opportunities provide people. I'm excited about getting out there with my family too. Yeah. So lots of great opportunities that aren't as complicated as maybe we thought. Yeah. And that's kind of the idea of this, right? Is making the outdoors more accessible than maybe you realize.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just build off of one thing you said is, getting the sun on your skin, dirt on your feet. I think that really has a mental health benefit more than we know. I know that there is research out there that suggests that getting on actual dirt instead of, a sidewalk or like an inside racing track or a treadmill, there's more mental health and mental emotional health benefits than just being on a treadmill or on a elliptical machine.
And if you're doing it with some friends, there's some social emotional components. Yeah. And what I look forward to is doing these things with my family, because I can put the 2-year-old in the pack and get after it.
Yeah. So I'd really challenge people listening to this. If you're thinking about going on a treadmill for an exercise today, why not check out one of these single track trails? Do 3 miles on the dirt instead of 3 miles on the treadmill and see what kind of benefits that you experience. I will say though, with a caveat, with this warm spring weather that we're having and a lot of the moisture that we had this past winter, the trails are really muddy. And so I would encourage people to take note of some ethical, outdoor ethical standards with this. When you approach a muddy trail, the natural human thing to do is to step off the trail and onto the grass or vegetation next to it, because you don't want to get muddy. But I would encourage people to go out there with proper footwear on, preferably like hiking boots or something, and just walk straight through that mud. Because what we have is, if people start veering off to the path to avoid mud, then all of a sudden you get a really wide trail. Or you get what's called trail braiding, where you have 2 or 3 trails running parallel to each other. So to avoid that, just stick right down the middle of the trail, get muddy, and that'll help with keeping our open spaces less impacted by human recreation. Awesome. Another thing you can do is go out early in the morning when it's still maybe a little bit frozen, and that helps limit the impact. Yeah,
it's not going to stick to you as bad either.
Yeah. Yep. So, and with mountain biking, if it's really muddy, probably just avoid mountain biking at this point, because it'll just really tear up the trails. Just wait a couple more weeks or whatever until we dry up a little bit. So
we could probably do a whole second part of this as far as talking about gear considerations and things like that. But not a bad idea to have some water with you, the map where you think you're going if you're going out one of these trails.
Yep.
Maybe get yourself a kind of a bar or something like that, wearing sunscreen and appropriate stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd say just use common sense, but for me, I would have got sunburned like 4 times and then been like, oh, then it would have been common sense. So I'd love someone to pick it up earlier than me. And did you say that there's some kind of a list of things that that people could think about? Is that a resource somewhere?
Yeah. I think what you were thinking of is the I can't remember exactly what it is. It's called the 10 Principles for. No, that's there's a list somewhere out there if you Google.
There's a couple lists so there's trail etiquette, and then there's also a list of things that you consider if you are going to go on some of these more advanced operatives and things like that. So we'll do a little research and we'll see if we can't dig up some of those and put those links into the description. Yeah,
and the major resource for outdoor ethics and stewardship it's called Leave No Trace. So.
Leave No Trace, right?
Yeah,
right. Other things people ought to know.
Just have the courage, be prepared, get out there on those trails. I think you won't regret it. But I would say, if you're having any apprehensions and you want to talk things over, come over here to the Alamosa Family Rec Center. I'd love to talk to you about what we have to offer in terms of trails and in terms of programming. You can catch me. AJ will put my contact information below.
Catch him outside. How about that?
Yeah.
You can. So if it's okay with you, I'll put your contact information in this description.
Yeah.
But if you contact the city, you'll eventually work your way to here, and you'll be able to learn more, talk with someone like yourself that can help you get out there, enjoy some of the local trails.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much for spending this time with me, teaching us about the local opportunities to go out, recreate, get some sun on our skin, with sunscreen on, of course, Dr. Vutzla, and we're out of here.